Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome to round 7 of Apex Racing Academy Super Formula, brought to you by Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me tonight is Avery McDonald with Luis O'Reilly, bringing you this broadcast on our YouTube channel. And with still the second half of the championship of this season remaining, we head to Road America, one of the longest circuits on the calendar and one of the fastest as well. Avery, this should be very good fun. Road America is the #1 circuit that I would like to see on the F1 schedule. We were talking about it before. There's another US circuit which is being visited this weekend instead, but I would love to see high performance single seats down here. IndyCar is great around this place. I see no reason why these super formulas won't mix as well.
Oh yeah, this track is such a phenomenal track. Different types of corners. So you got some good quick corners. You have some technical corners. And the one thing about this, Sam, it's very narrow, like you were saying. So it's a lot different than what we've been to so far this season. So I'm really looking forward to see how the drivers are adapting to the narrow circuit.
Yeah, it will be a tricky challenge for them. Let's have a look at the championship standings going into this round. Lennart Schnabel with a strong runners-up spots last time out. He managed to just extend his lead over Marcos Alacon, but I think when you take into consideration the drop score, I believe Alacon is ahead. Alacon actually missed round 1, and so that is why he is still behind. So very tight between those two. Bit of a gap back to Carl Winkler. Giuseppe Lofario has been in fantastic form recently. He also missed a round earlier on in the championship, but winning his first ever race last time out, he could well go for back-to-back and still launch a championship charge. Palach, Aberdeen, Alzagari and Rosenkrantz rounding out the top 8 in the pros. And in the AM championship, we have still got Cesar Sebral up at the top, but closely fought with Fabio Grissetto, who's had a stop-start season so far. Lots of mistakes from Fabio, but keeping it tight at the top of that championship. And yeah, it should be an opportunity for Lofario to keep up his good form from Zandvoort last time out, Avery.
Oh yeah, Lofario, he put on a clinic last week at Zandvoort, and I'm really curious to see how he'll do here at Road America, because it's a way different track. The slipstream will be a big factor here, as there's, pretty much 3 good straightaways here. You got your front straight, and then out of 3, that really long straight where you're going to see most of the passes down here into 5, as you see on your screen. So there's going to be some good opportunities for some really good passes here.
And where you use your attack mode as well, your overtake mode could be important. Like that could give you a lot of speed. depending on where you use it. And overtaking will be very possible on those final few laps, which is usually where the drivers leave their overtakes to last. They'll just put it on for maybe 2 or 3 laps come the end of the race. That's what we've seen so far this season. We are currently in qualifying. It is a 20-minute session. The drivers go out in groups, and it's reverse championship order that the groups are in. So the slower drivers go out first, and then they get faster and faster as the session goes on. Currently, the drivers out on circuits are on their flying laps, and this is the second fastest group. So we've still got the top championship runners to come, but these guys are fairly handy. Currently, Fabio Grassetto leading the times.
Yeah, Grassetto, has a lot of pace and just had some mistakes throughout the season to, fall back a little bit. But, currently sitting on the pole so far. But, as our qualifying works, you get 1 lap to put your lap in, and you have the faster drivers that are going in the last group. So, good lap so far. We'll see how long it'll stick on top.
And I think this is the first time I've seen this so far this season. The draft coming into play. Kevin Zwemstra, he sat right behind the car ahead, which I believe might be Jose Alzugare, trying to pick up a draft. And it's worked fairly well for him because he's moved up into 2nd position on the grid. So we may well see that later on. It helps to have teammates in your group. But so far this season, we've seen drivers leave quite big gaps, not be too fussed about those drafts. The night it's much closer. It was actually Alzugare who was the driver ahead of him. Rosenkrantz now goes to the top, and look at that, a 2nd clear of the rest. Chris has shown at times himself to be well clear of the rest of the order, but just hasn't put it down all the time. It has had some absolutely awful mistakes as Cesana goes forth. I don't think anyone's going to get close to that time from the German.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure he's got that really good lap for him. We'll see. I mean, he is a 2nd quicker, but the one thing to keep in mind, so last week we had 6 drivers that didn't get a lap in because they went off track, and so far, it looks like I believe everyone has put on a clean lap so far that's gone out since we are in the last group, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct. We've got 6 drivers: Schnabel, Paluch, Alarcon, Lefaro, Aberdeen and Winkler still to set a time, and they are now starting their lap time. Schnabel getting a little bit of a draft from the cars ahead. Paluch with a bit more of a gap. The first driver who will come across the line will be Giuseppe Lofari. He's the lead of this. Then it's Schnabel, and then Alarcon, and then this man Paluch, and he's ahead of Winkler, who's a little bit further back. So the core sim racing teammates not that close to one another, not being too fussed about the draft. And we'll see if anyone can get close to Rosenkrantz. They will be looking to at least surpass Grassetto if possible.
Yeah, if you could just start in that, front 5 or 6 cars, you're going to sit pretty good because they'll have a little bit more pace and they'll try to pull away. Oh, Leonard Schnabel just overcooked the corner exit there, so he's going to really struggle there. His lap time on that sector was a little bit slower than Rosenkrantz.
Yeah, that was not tidy one bit. So who is looking like they're going to beat? Well, Rosenkrantz set 6 purple sectors. No one's matching his sectors. I don't think anyone's going to get within half a second here of Chris Rosenkrantz if these lap times continue. Something's got absolutely something inspired. Lofari's going very quick. These are good times, decent times for Lofari. Alarcon looking pretty good. But I think it's going to be close amongst these final 6 drivers. No one's really way ahead. Aberdeen with a purple sector 4. Aberdeen might be a late challenger. Perhaps he's just got a couple more corners to go. It'll be Lofaro the first across the line. Then it will be Schnabel. Are they able to get anywhere near Rosenkrantz? No. 9/10 of a second off for Lofaro. Schnabel only 13th. We saw he made a mistake. That is bad news for our championship leader. Aberdeen is next across the line. A very strong P2 for him. Paluch moves up to P6. Winkler will move up to P7. And Marcos Alarcon invalidated his lap time. Our top 2 in the championship having an awful qualifying.
Yeah, awful qualifying, Sam, but that's going to make a fun start to this race. With Schnabel starting 16th and Alarcon starting 20th. They're going to have to make some moves if they want to, capture some good points here at Road America.
Yeah, what an effort it's going to have to be for them, and great news as well for Rosenkrantz to have a couple of rivals out to play for him. That will really help him on his mission to win a race, and I think it would be his first race win of the season, which seems bizarre because he's been fastest, I think, on half the races so far this season, maybe even more than that. But there he is on pole position for Simset Esports. Lee Aberdeen, the only man who got anywhere near. Lothario continuing his good form. He's looking for, I think, his 4th podium in 5 races. It's really been good for Lothario. Grosseto top of the AMS. Then Swemstra, Paluch, Winkler, Cezana, Pop, Ford on only his 2nd Apex Racing League event. Veya and Tambwe in 12th. Then it is Alzugare, Mola, Boberg, Schnabel, Cabral, Mar, Arroyo, and Alarcon.
Yeah, Ben Ford, had a very impressive run last week at Zandvoort. He just kept going up the field. You just kept seeing his name keep going up and up and up on that timing tower. So, starting 10th, middle of the pack. I'm really curious to see how he'll handle this. The one thing I want to point out, Rosenkrantz, Aberdeen, and Laforo, the top 3. And you could maybe put Grosseto in there. They're quite a bit faster than most drivers behind them. So maybe they can pull away a little bit and just kind of not necessarily race each other, but just stay in a good line because Alicon and Schnabel are gonna be hunting to try to get through everybody as fast as possible.
Yeah, Alicon's in a little bit of a danger point. I think Schnabel's in even more of a danger point because he's a bit in the midfield and isn't going to be able to get away from many drivers. It's a narrow circuit, this. 2 wide is heavily advised to turn 1. 3 wide is heavily advised against. Watch out for drivers going wide as well on the exit of turn 1, potentially spinning back out onto circuits. We had issues at turn 2 in the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship a few days ago. And we see what is going to happen. So Rosenkrantz from the pole position. What is going to happen over the course of these 200 kilometers of Road America? Away we launch. It's a great start for our pole. It's a decent start for Aberdeen. Poor start for Lothario. He's already dropped down to 4th position behind Grosseto. The top 4 all in a line, even the top 5 in a line. A little bit of side-by-side would make Paluch trying to hold on to 6th position, which he has done successfully. He is ahead of Pop and Winkler. Tambwe trying to gain a couple of places as they go into the 2nd corner. We have got Mola wide, also Pop a little bit wide. That's going to compromise the exit. Cabral moving, darting to the inside of the circuit as well as the drivers make their way down to turn 5.
Yeah, getting on that second straight here going into turn 5. This is where we're going to see a lot of overtakes. You see Laforo and has to fall back with Grosseto going. If you get a poor exit out of 5, you're going to have a hard time going to 6. And you see that happen to Laforo, but this is exactly what Rosenkrantz needed. But, we got a couple cars going off into the gravel.
Cabral and Muller. So Muller's got involved in 2 incidents on this first lap. Went wide at turn 2 and wide again at turn 6. It also happened to Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz, I think, has made a mistake because Aberdeen now leads this race. That's an unusual place to overtake going into the carousel. And whilst it's not necessarily too bad for Rosenkrantz, overtaking very possible around this Road America circuit, it's early blood for the Australian.
One thing I want to point out, Schnabel to 11th. Alicon already up to 15th, but side-by-side for the lead.
And back comes Rosenkrantz. Aberdeen couldn't hold on to it for very long. He might be able to get back underneath. A better exit for him into Bill Mitchell-Ben. He'll have to leave room for his rival. He does so, and he is back ahead. Grosseto getting very close to these drivers as well. No team affiliations for these top 4. It's Zwemstra back in 5th, who is the next Altcan Tech driver who could perhaps help out his teammate, Lee Aberdeen. But the Australian is currently having to fend his own war out in front. Here comes Rosenkrantz with the draft. Again, there's no defense put up by Aberdeen. Rosenkrantz went too deep at Canada Corner when he tried this one earlier on. This time, he gets it stopped on a dime.
Yeah, you have to be very careful in Canada Corner. But good overtake by Rosenkrantz. Aberdeen, just let him go. You really don't want to go side-by-side into there because when you go out, come here in turn 3, it's very difficult to maintain a good line if you're side-by-side. So really good move by Rosenkrantz to get in front. But, still within fighting distance. But how about Fabio Grosseto up into 3rd spot for the amateur driver?
Big points are coming his way. The next placed amateur driver is Edward Pop in 12th place. Pop's had a poor start. Poor start as well for Veya because he's just spun. The Maltese driver spinning at turn 5 and he is now in last position after that. And I think we've already got the replay of what happened to him.
Yeah, you got to be careful going into turn 5.
Oh, Oh, he's lost it by himself, hasn't he?
Well, the car was a little unsettled going into the corner, and you could tell it never quite settled in until, well, until it spun.
I think that was Tambwe who he was trying to overtake. Tambwe, though, doing absolutely nothing wrong. Here comes the move from Schnabel. He's using his overtake in order to get past Ford. We saw him struggle to get past, I think it was Dylan Platt earlier on this season at Silverstone, Schnabel. But much easier for him to get past Ford this occasion. Grosseto, meanwhile, has got past Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen's run wide at the final corner because he's losing out to Lofaro as well, an unforced error, it looks like, for the Alcantech driver, who now has his teammates sat on his gearbox.
Yeah, turn 14, the final turn of this circuit's super important because it sets you up for the straightaway. You see what happened with Aberdeen go from 2nd to 4th because of that mishap. So we'll see if he's able to regroup. Here comes a replay, your SDK Gaming replay. Yeah, Grosseto already got around, trying to get around Aberdeen here on the replay here, coming into 14. Yep, just caught the outside and just pushed it a little wide and into the grass. Just lucky he didn't hit anybody and maintained a decent pace there, Sam.
Yeah, that could have been worse. And lucky as well he had his teammate behind, otherwise he would have lost an extra place. But it was quite clear that Swemstra lifted out of the throttle to allow his teammate to recover. So Rosencrantz now leading by a second after that mistake. We still wait to see whether his qualifying pace will translate into his race pace. It's not always the case. Back at Spa, for example, he was on pole by a similar margin as he was today, but he had a bit of a mare come the main event. But tonight he does look fairly unflappable. 31 laps for him to survive on this Road America circuit in order to win. I believe his first race of the season. I'm going to have to check that, however, because that seems like a crazy thing to say. Lofaro under big pressure in 3rd place. Looks like Aberdeen is recouped and is looking to get back one of those places.
Yeah, the biggest thing Rosencrantz can do, he just has to pull away from this group. You see here we're on board with Grosseto in 2nd at the 1 second gap between 1st and 2nd place. So if these two drivers can just worry about trying to pull away, and that'll help them out tremendously. One thing I want to point out, Schnabel only up to 10th and Alicon up to 13th. So they're both up 6 and 7 spots. So they're coming, just not fast enough.
Yeah, and how far away are they? They're about 8 seconds off the lead, so that's not... The field spread hasn't been too bad for them so far. But yeah, I'm not sure they're going to have... I know, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw one of them on the podium, but I think they're going to need some favours from these guys. Lofaro having to go defensive against Aberdeen. Cezanne, meanwhile, has got past Paluch. That one's been coming really since about lap 1. Paluch originally... No, Cezanne did start behind Paluch, and I feel like was quite close going down into turn 1. Wasn't able to get it done, but a few laps later he's done it, and Cezanne actually with the fastest lap of the race last time round, our winner back at Suzuka, of course.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking before the race started when these drivers are going to make that one required pit stop. I was like, maybe Alicon or Schnabel might come in early just so they get a clean track, but they decided to not come in early, but we're sitting in a good spot. So yeah, the one required pit stop. I'm really curious to see how it's going to take an effect because it's a long pit lane.
Here comes Schnabel past Winkler. Easy enough into Canada Corner. Not the first time we've seen him make a move there. Mola also going past Boberg. But Boberg defending. Of course, Mola had that really bad start, didn't he? At when he went wide at turn 6. I wonder if we might get a replay of that from that lap 1. But Boberg now using his overtake to try to repel the attack and try to hold on to 16th position.
Yeah, good run so far for Boberg. Schnabel gets around Al Zagari up into the 8th position, so that's 8 spots for him, and he's in position 8, so really good job by him. But now he's got clear track. It's about 2 seconds to Paluch up in front of him, which is 7th. So this is his opportunity to get that clean track and try to get a good couple laps to catch up.
A little bit of a backup going into the turn 5. I was just seeing it ahead by the gaps because Aberdeen got really close to Lofaro, then Zwemstra got really close to Aberdeen. And I think Rennsport may have had to have actually gone off the circuit in order to avoid his teammate. I think Aberdeen was really early on the brakes into turn 5. And, as Lofaro's made a mistake. Lofaro has dropped down to 4th position. He's given up a place to Aberdeen. And because Rennsport was so slow at turn 5 earlier on this lap, he wasn't close enough to take advantage of it himself. So that's 1 place back for Aberdeen, which he lost earlier on. And it's now Lofaro, our race winner from last time out, down into 4th place.
Yeah, a lot of purple sectors on this lap. 3 drivers have put on a purple sector here, so we're maintaining a really good pace, and we're only on lap 5, and it's only going to get quicker. You see Lofaro trying to just get that slipstream to catch up to Aberdeen here. Here's a great exit, way better than we've seen before from a couple drivers, so we'll see if he'll be able to catch up. But here is Boberg and Moeller.
Yeah, so Moeller's got past, hasn't he, into 16th place. Alicon gaining 2 places very quickly there. I think there may be a 3 wide between Alicon, Ford and Pop. They've all changed positions very quickly. Alicon's now to 11th place, 9 seconds off the race lead as it stands. That might be worth getting a replay of because, yeah, I think he may have done 2 of them into turn 1 on this lap. That's pretty spectacular stuff. We're seeing no time Alicon, who has finished in the top 5 in every race he's participated in so far this season. After not setting a qualifying lap, it was going to be tricky for him to achieve that. But yeah, it was a double overtake, and it was done partially with the overtake.
Yeah, correct. Done partially with the overtake, but he had a way better turn 14 than those 2 drivers there. Good move by Alicon. You have to take your chances when you can. You know, Pop almost went a little bit wide there, but not of his own doing, but really good move by Alicon to move up into 11th spot. That's up 9 positions from where he started, which is 20th.
And now we can see what his pace is like. Schnabel's been in some clean air recently. He's doing 42.16. That's about 0.3 of a second faster than Gussette in the lead, but 0.3 of a second slower than Rosenkrantz. He's the only man who's got into the 421s so far tonight. So Rosenkrantz does seem to have an edge on Schnabel, but Schnabel currently the 2nd fastest man out on circuit. I wouldn't be surprised if Alicon gets it as well. And of course we do tend to see, and we might be about to see it as well, Gussette drop back when the races go on longer. And he may well be starting that process now because he's been overtaken by Aberdeen, half turned into the corner as well. That really compromised his line. And Lofaro was very close to getting past as well. But Gussette's qualifying pace is usually better than his race pace. And so he'll do very well to keep these drivers behind him.
I will say Rosenkrantz's time, I'm going to say I'm 99.999% sure that was with no overtake, because when you're 3 seconds ahead of someone, you don't need to. Big send there by Zwelmstra, I believe. Yeah, Zwelmstra makes that move.
That's Cezanne on Zwelmstra.
Oh, Cezanne, yeah, Cezanne.
And Palic has gone through as well. Awful couple of corners for
Wow.
Zwelmstra. He's down to P7.
Wow. Great move by those Cezanne and Palic to get around him. But yeah, so Zwelmstra just lost a couple spots. Still early. I mean, you're still in the top 7 within 5 seconds of the leader and 2 seconds of from 2nd place. So sitting in a good spot.
Thanks, guys, for interacting on the YouTube chats. David John Gibbons saying, wow, that's a nice livery when talking about Chris Rosenkrantz's livery. Because Sims esports, it is a good one. Thank you, David, for presenting that one to the world. We do like it. Aaron Smith saying, someone please go and scrutinize Rosenkrantz's car. He's now 3.1 seconds clear of the rest of the field. He is very quick at the moment, is Rosenkrantz. I was just looking back at Rosenkrantz's results. He hasn't won a race this season. He's only finished in the top 7 once this season. And his best result is a 2nd place at Motegi. He started that race from last. So Rosenkrantz has underachieved, I think, like I've never seen a driver underachieve in an Apex Racing League series, because he has been arguably the fastest driver. Huge slide for Cezanne, who's going to give up 2 places.
Yeah, you got to be so careful on corner exits here at Road America, because a lot of the exits here go into a really long straightaway, and that's what you've seen him do out of 3. Oh, a little bit wide for Zolmstra, which allows Cezanna to get to his left side, but not able to go into turn number 6 to make the move.
So the occasional movement amongst this front group, which is now joined by Lennart Schnabel, he's absolutely there. Winkler 1.8 seconds further back. I mean, we could have second down to 11th, all in a group eventually, because Winkler, Alzagari and Alacon, they have decent pace between the lot of them. Alzagari had a weak qualifying himself. That's why the Spanish driver is so far down. Alzagari, of course, with 2 second places so far this season, see his name, including a very tight finish at Spa, where he lost it on the final corner of the race. Lofari, the next up on Grosseto. This one's been going for a little while. Now that Grosseto's lost the draft to Aberdeen, I think this might be possible, as Wemstra has made a mistake at the final corner and has dropped outside the top 10.
Yeah, just unfortunate for him, but Lafaro, who we've seen dominate, is doing pretty good. We'll take a look at a replay here of Zolmstra. See what happens here. He struggled in 14 a lot so far. We'll see if that's where it happened. Yep, kind of went wide again and spun it out. And
had to toe back.
Tires.
Yeah, well, actually, maybe he didn't toe back. Maybe he drove in to the pits, gets the fast repair, and that will be his pit stop complete. So that's a good place to spin. If he did have damage, that's a very good place to get damage.
Right. If you all wreck, make sure you buy a pit road entry.
Yeah.
So he'll get his first, he has a one mandatory pit stop, and he'll be the first one to take it. So once you get a couple other drivers, I'll try to do little calculations on how long it takes to come down pit road when you have a good entrance. So, but
it will be long, won't it? It is,
yes.
I think, the longest pit lane we have this season.
Yeah, it's long, and it's slow.
Yeah, it's not. Didn't they upgrade a few of them to? I think they've upgraded some of the Grand Prix circuits like Suzuka and maybe not Silverstone, but Barcelona, okay, to be a bit faster. But I don't think they necessarily upgraded this one, so I think this is still quite a slow pit lane. So yeah, you don't want to pick up drive-throughs either. 20 instants you get a drive-through, so the drivers need to make sure they keep below that. This is a run, isn't it? Look at that. The overtake being used, and that will be easy enough for Lofari to eventually get up into 3rd position. A little bit of vulnerability for Rosenkrantz, just starting to be caught a little bit by the cars behind. Everyone else is starting to up their pace. We're starting to see 41s, not just by Rosenkrantz, but by others. Paluch has just done the fast lap of the race, down in 5th position. So they're starting to come back at the German for the first time in this race now.
Yeah, pit lane speed 72 kilometers per hour, so pretty slow, 45 miles per hour for my American measurements. But yeah, here's Edward Pop trying to make a move on Ford. Very difficult turn to make an overtake because, like we've seen, if you have an issue on corner 5 exit, you're done for in corner 6.
Ooh, that was veering to the left by Samuel Marr. I'm glad he was able to straighten up when he did. Ricard Boberg in 16th position, actually losing time to these guys. Dean Veyer after his spin earlier on. He's going to get one of these places back. A little bit of locking into turn 8, but was safe enough once he got to the apex. It's a very competitive field. I don't feel like Veyer deserves to be last right now. Well, he's not last, but he's 3rd to last. Yeah, it's just a very competitive field. Here comes Ford, and coming back again against Pop. You cannot get this move done.
Yeah, Ford, like I said earlier, had a great run last week in his debut and having a good run so far. Yeah, he is down 1 spot, but still maintaining 11th position is a very good. Grosseto moves up to 3rd, and Alcon up to 9th. Schnabel's made his way all the way up to 6th, and that's him behind them. You see just barely on your screen that it is Schnabel behind him.
Oh, that's is that Winkler? It is.
Yeah.
What has gone on for Carl Winkler? I guess he's run wide at turn 2. I've seen it a lot of times so far tonight. Drivers dipping a wheel onto the grass in the traction zone and losing the rear end. He didn't get on the grass at all, did he? He was sort of just spinning up the tyres before he was even out of the corner. And that spin, or that half spin, has cost him 5 seconds.
It cost him 5 seconds, but he's still in the race with not having to use a quick fix yet. So he's down to 10th place. He's got a lot of speed. We'll see if he can catch back up there. Oh, and a contact in the... Wow.
That was Ford on the inside, Winkler on the outside. And he may well have damage and may well need to take his pit stop, Carl Winkler. Of course, after that mistake earlier on, so he's made another... Did he make another mistake? No, that was just the original mistake which put him into that position. And then Ford must have made a mistake ahead of him, which gave him the chance into the carousel.
Yeah, it looks like he locked him up a little bit, and then just kind of drove up a little bit. It had got a little tight in the carousel, and contact was made. But like you said, if that mistake with Winkler didn't happen before, that incident wouldn't happen. But you need to be very cautious going into turn number 8, as you see with Ben Ford. Just overcooked the corner there. So, but as we race on,
Ben Ford's had a very short Apex Racing League career so far. However, I think he may have just made his first enemy on that one, because I think Carl Winkler will be upset about that incident. First upset about himself, and then upset about Ben Ford as well. Left the course sim racing driver with a lot to do to bring himself back into play, and of course sim racing going for the team's championship in this series as well. He wants as many points along with his teammate Make Palich as well, who is representing the squad very well. And just looking at the gaps again, Rosenkrantz starting to pull away again. So the gap did go back down to 3 seconds. It's back up to 5 seconds again. And Grosseto still keeping tabs with Aberdeen and trying to keep Lofaro behind. The two of them battling lap after lap.
So yeah, it's about 45 or so seconds on pit road, Sam. So once these drivers make their big pit stops, and see if they're doing a different strategy, because last week we saw some drive go out halfway, we saw some go with 10 laps to go, and here comes Schnabel, who's about 7 seconds back from the leader when he came down to the pit road. He'll give you a good. He'll give us a good estimation on the pit time.
He did not fancy battling these guys, did he? He just wanted to get in, get some clearer air. Like he's already gone through the field once, as here comes the move for Palich. Lofaro's gone wide at turn 2, and Palich up to 4th position. If he can make it stick, it looks like actually Gosset has given the draft to Lofaro instead. That might just help the Italian stay in 4th place despite the mistake he made a couple of corners earlier. Back comes Palich though, inside line for turn 6. I'll turn to the outside for turn 7, but I think his drive is good enough from the corner. Easy flat through 7. And Make Palich for course sim racing up to 4th position. And well, he's only going one way at the moment, is Palich. He's not making these mistakes that some of the others are making. I think he could well be past Grosseto and maybe even fighting Aberdeen within a few laps.
Yeah, really good run by Palich to move his way up the field, up 2 spots from where he started. The one thing, when pit stops are starting to come, if you're not familiar with the Super Formula cars, with the tires, when you make the change, they're going to really cool off, and you have to be really patient, because we've seen drivers make some crucial mistakes because they're so used to the warm tires. So Swelmster just put on a purple sector 4 the last lap around, but Schnabel in front of him by a couple spots, so he's 43 seconds back from the leader. So sitting in a good spot. I think if he can maintain some good laps, because he's got 11 seconds or 12 seconds to the driver in front of him, and he's got a good opportunity to make some good lap times in. Alicon into the pits, he started last, and he was all the way up to 7th.
Yeah, our 2nd place in the championship. So yeah, both of our championship leaders into the pits. The scoring system for this series is quite steep. If you win, you get 100 points. Oh, here comes the overtake mode for Grosseto and Palic. Palic's overspeed looks very good there. They could well be getting to the limiter by the end of this straight. Grosseto, will he get that one stopped? He's gone in deep. And this is what Palic did last lap to Lofari. It hasn't worked this time round though. He wasn't quite far alongside. But Grosseto is nonetheless still on the defensive. Could maybe have the dummy into turn 8, but again he doesn't go for it. Yeah, the scoring system is fairly steep in this series, so 100 points for first, 80 points for second. So Rosencrantz could still win the championship if he won every race from now to the end of the season, which is a tall ask for a man who has only finished in the top 5 once in the first 6 races. But demonstrating by his form tonight, I wouldn't put it past him necessarily.
I want to point out one thing. Alicon, his pit stop was 4 seconds slower than everybody else in the pit stop time, so that's huge. He would have been a little bit closer to Schnabel. Not quite there, but pit stop time was 11 seconds compared to what we've seen with about 7. And here comes Lafaro and Cezanna into the pits.
It's difficult to know why that. Why would it be an extra 4 seconds? I mean, what's he doing there? Like just hopping out the car or changing the tires twice?
Maybe to grab a glass of tea or something, or
yeah. Because obviously it is just take the 4 tires. You can't take fuel in this car. It's an impossible thing to do. Here we go again. Now these guys are losing each other a lot of time here, battling as much as they are. But Palic can see some clean air in front of him, and he wants to start driving into it. I think that's what he's going to do, because this is much more promising for him. Grosseto thinking about the cutback, but realises it's not going to happen. So Palic now up to 3rd position on track. It might be that Schnabel's been able to jump these guys whilst they've been battling. We'll find out in a few laps' time when the final few pit stops are made. That's Pop has got past Tamboy.
Yeah, Pop and Tamboy is a second race with the Super Formula Series, made his debut last week, and really running really good up in the 8th spot. So Schnabel makes the move on Cezanna, and so he just needs to get around Lafaro, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, this will be a battle for 5th when everybody pits, maybe a 4th, but most likely 5th.
I think you're right, yeah. That's a blistering lap time from Schnabel, isn't it? 41.59. Very, very quick stuff. I think you mentioned it earlier on about the cold tyres. It is mainly an overcuts in this series. Ideally, you want to go 1, maybe 2 laps longer. This is a long circuit, so maybe it's just the 1 lap. And we have seen it be 2 laps in the past, that you want to go longer than your rival in order to get track position. So you don't expect to see the undercut. That's very messy. That is Schnabel getting past Lofaro, so that is for effectively 4th or 5th position. We're not quite sure. We're going to find out where they are when Grosseto exits the pits very soon.
Yeah, Grosseto was 8 seconds back when he came to the pits, but yeah, Schnabel gets a good run through the kink and makes them move up here into Canada corner.
Oh, it's very close between Grosseto. Oh, and it was netcode, to be fair, between the 2 of them. It was netcode, so nothing that Lofaro can get angry about. Grosseto has stayed ahead of Schnabel. He's just ahead, but I think with the cold tyres, it will be easy enough. And there it is, it's very easy for Schnabel to get past. So he's now up into effective 4th. We expect him to be behind Rosenkrantz, Aberdeen and Palic when they will make their pit stops. There's an aggressive move for the 206 of Lofaro. And he cannot get past... Apologies, he did get past Grosseto. He's up into 11th position. And so Grosseto's gone from basically 4th down to 6th in all of that.
I think Schnabel can get up into 3rd here. If he can put down some really good laps before Palic comes in pits, he might be able to get up into 3rd because, Grosseto and Palic were battling each other when Grosseto came down to the pits. So we'll just have to see. I kind of like the later pit strategy, maybe go around 24, 25. That way you can just use up the warm tires. So maybe we'll see that happen. But LaFaro and Schnabel in a good battle. LaFaro down 8 spots, but he'll get some more as some of the drivers in front of him pit.
Ben Ford with a blistering lap time last time, and he's just done 4 personal best sectors out of in a lap, and there's 6 sectors around this circuit. So Ben Ford's just gone faster than Aberdeen, Palach, and Alzugari ahead of him. He's a little bit detached from those guys, to be fair. You can see it on the timing tower. He's got a fair bit to gain, but Ben Ford with a really good pace in the latter stages of this first stint. Alicon with a 41.49. That's half a second faster than the race leader. That's nearly a second faster than Aberdeen.
Yeah, but just not in the right spot to get around those guys. So if you can, put the head down and get going, you might be able to make some positions, because I mean he's only 5 seconds back of Grosseto, and he's got more pace, so should be able to happen. Samuel Ma coming into the pits, will surrender to 17th place, but Schnabel up into 10th spot, and it's got a half-second gap between him and LaFaro, and sitting in a decent spot to where I think he could potentially get 3rd. And then here comes Rosenkrantz into the pits. So got to get slowed down. 72 kilometers per hour is the speed limit here. Aberdeen in the pits and Palach in the pits.
Yeah, they didn't fancy going long. I mean, I sort of liked your logic of, going to lap 24, but no, these guys didn't want it. They went just beyond the halfway mark. And we wait to see what's going to happen to them. Ford continuing on with his strong pace recently, so to pop. But Rosenkrantz will definitely still be in the lead.
Right.
Aberdeen will definitely still be in second place. It's just, where's Palach? Palach versus Schnabel. That's going to be the close one, I think.
They got good pit time, 7.4 for Rosenkrantz, 6.7 for Palach, and 7.7 for Aberdeen. And here comes Schnabel. Now he's got warmer tires, so if you got to make some move, now's the time.
So Palach keeping the track position, but not by much. Aberdeen's fairly close to these guys as well, isn't he? Yeah, only 1.3 seconds is his distance to catch. With the fresh tyres, Schnabel might make that time up, as now he's got the overtake on, and he is surging towards Palach. Palach, one of the most polite drivers in the series. And LaFaro's going to get past the pair of us. There goes LaFaro on the outside. He suddenly appears, but he's gone too deep. And he could see a miracle move, one of the moves of the month, I think, coming up. But it just wasn't quite there. He didn't have the grip that he needed.
Here comes the SDK Gaming replay. Schnabel and LaFaro were on the boost. And 3 wide for a second.
Whoa.
It's a gutsy move by LaFaro, because if you enter on the right side going into turn 5, exactly what happened. So good job by Palach to realize, hey, I should just back up this corner and then still make the pass. So, but Schnabel able to make that move up into 8th, but he would be 3rd after the pit stops. Edward Pop and Cabral coming out into the pits.
Oh no!
Oh, contact Grosseto.
That's big for our amateur race leader and championship leader as well. I'm not sure if that was netcode or not. We so often see that. We saw it in the F3s earlier on in the year, down into that corner, with drivers squeezing one another. It's sort of a deceiving corner. I think the driver on the inside always feels like there's a bit more space on the outside than there actually is. Did LaFaro squeeze out his rival here?
Yeah, Canada corner so tough. Oh, he kind of comes in a little bit on him, but just unfortunate for Grosseto to go off the track, and just a bummer for him. But you know what, though? He's still in a good spot. When the pit cycle happens, he'll still be leading the AM division, but he's definitely going to lose out on some points because it goes through the overall grid. So just you hate to see it for him, but racing tough in a Canada corner, incidents can happen.
Well, Winkler has had an upturn in pace recently. Remember, he had 2 incidents in a single lap. He spun by himself at turn 2, and then he collided with Ben Ford at the carousel. That was about 10 minutes into the race. But he is charging down. Kevin Swimshire might be able to catch up to Fabio Grosseto as well by the end of the race with the pace that he's showing. He's just saying personal best sector after personal best sector. It might be due to the slipstream that he's got, but yeah, he's pretty much the fastest man out on circuit right now as the course sim racing driver. He is down in 12th position, will be promoted up to maybe the top 8 once all the pit stops are sorted out. Here comes Tamboy into the pit, still Alzagari and Ford continuing on with decent pace. And yeah, so the scenario really now is Rosenkrantz leading the way, Aberdeen in 2nd place, but Schnabel in 3rd, and Impalic in 4th.
One thing I want to put out, Schnabel, I believe, only has about 60 or so seconds left of the boost. I'm expecting Aberdeen to have double that left, but so that's going to be important here. I mean, you've seen Schnabel make the pass when he had the boost on, so but he had to use that boost to get to where he was. You start towards the back of the pack, and you got to make your moves when you can.
Just out to the title sponsor for this series, Apex Racing Academy. If you want to get faster in a variety of cars in iRacing, including this Super Formula car, Apex Racing Academy is the place to go to, with data packs designed by some of the best drivers in all of sim racing. And yeah, you can go to apexracingac.com and get yourself a bronze, silver or gold subscription, different elements available from each one, and set up some track guides and all of that good stuff available from the academy. So do check out apexracingac.com for more details. That was K Brow trying to get past Tamboy, but it didn't work.
Yeah, Cabral, you know, really kind of needs to make some moves to get up in the points. Here comes Alzagari, new leader, Ben Ford.
First time he's led a race, I guess. Don't think he led last time, did he?
I know, but speaking of fast lap times, 140.73 for Rosenkrantz, but and Aberdeen a 140.93, and now it's oh my gosh, these drivers are pushing it.
They're so much faster than what they were earlier on in the race. Like they're a second a lap faster than what they were at the start of the race. The conditions stay the exact same. Like we use fixed weather, and so, maybe it's just the rubbering of the circuit, just making these cars go faster and faster. This is looking tasty. Come on, make it 3 wide. No, you're choosing against it. That is Cabral ahead of us. He has now got past Tamboy. We saw him try and fail on the last lap at turn 5. Tamboy with the freshest tyres of these drivers, but still trying to get them up to temperature a bit. And Mola might be able to get past as well himself. What happened to Cezanne earlier on? He's taken 2 pit stops.
I think he went off track a little bit and got a little damage or something. That might have been the case, but had to come down and get it fixed, I believe. The one thing I want to say, though, you know, with the fastest time with Rosenkrantz, and Ben Ford is going to come down to the pits, but Rosenkrantz, the later into this run, it seems like his car's been rotating and motivating a little bit better and able to get a, you know, it's just the fastest time so far of the day.
Yeah, it does certainly look like it's been the case. There is Schnabel on this lap, loses a bit in some sectors, gains a bit in other sectors. No boost being used by Palic. Really impressive form from Palic. This is the best we've seen make drive so far this season. He hasn't had a podium so far this season. It's looking very possible he could get one so far. Maybe even P2. Wouldn't rule it out. Aberdeen only 2 seconds ahead of these drivers.
Yeah, I think anybody in the top 4 can get a spot on the podium, especially, you know, Palic. And I kind of figured Schnabel was going to catch up to Aberdeen by a little bit, but the last couple laps, Aberdeen's been faster than him. So a really good run by him as he's trying to pull away from the 2 drivers on your screen.
Yeah, it is a desperate attempt for him to keep that 2nd place alive. Would be Aberdeen's best result of the season as well, I believe. He hasn't had a podium either as Aberdeen. He's had a 9th, a 6th, a 13th, a 6th, a 7th, and a 4th. So yeah, best result of the season coming last time out at Zandvoort. He would be going 2 places better. So I think Suzuki had a chance at maybe even the race win, but he had some issues near the end of his at the end of his first stint, sorry, which I think it was like hardware issues which were affecting him, and he had a miserable sort of 5 laps, which sort of ruled him out of contention. He ended up in a fairly lowly position on that day, down in 6th position. That day he could have certainly had a podium, and he's sort of delivering on that promise tonight. Palic still that exact same 4 tenths of a second behind at the line. Here is Grassetti, he's looking racy. This is him on Josu Alzugari. He's using his overtake. He's got just over a minute of it remaining, and he will move past. He's back up into 7th place overall. Good to see that he's got no damage from the incident earlier on.
Yeah, great job by him to get back going, when going off track, and he's up to 7th spot. So I mean, he's really starting to make some moves to get back up. I think he's a little bit out of Alicon, just because Alicon's got a little bit more speed than him. But Palace goes around Schnabel. Oh, Grassetto and Alzugari almost had a little contact coming out of turn 5, and Grassetto kind of just let him by going out of 6th. But yeah, Palic is up into 3rd.
Yeah, that was definitely a mistake from it looked like from Schnabel, wasn't it? Because they're a fair bit further back from Aberdeen than they were before. So that was a cheap position after working so hard for so many positions as well. Schnabel started down in 16th place, remember. It was a mistake for Tamboy from Racing. Oh, yep, that's a full spin, isn't it?
It's very easy to do in turn 5 after you have all that speed. I've done it I've done it thousands of times, so don't feel bad for doing it once so far in the race. But Carl Winkler up into 10th, trying to recoup after some misfortunes. But
I think Rennsport just made a mistake behind them. They were separated by 2 tenths of a second, the 3 of them on our timing screens for a moment. And then, yeah, Rennsport's now a few tenths of a second behind.
Major props to Alicon up in the 6th, battling for the 5th position with last week's winner, Laforo. And there's Grassetto and Alzugari battling super hard for the 7th position. Grassetto 3 spots ahead of the next AM driver, so sitting in a good point stay for him, and try to keep collecting them points. Tough move to make a pass here. I don't know how good of an idea that is.
And in the background, you can just see Ford and Winkler alongside. And this is Winkler trying to get past Ben Ford. Now, the 2 of them did collide earlier on in this race. That's the carousel. An incident that was, I must say, overwhelmingly Ben Ford's fault, it looked like. Winkler left a lot of space for the British driver, who just understeered slightly mid-corner. So Winkler will be even more desperate to make that move than normal.
Here comes Grassetto. Canada corner. Yeah, it's so hard to go too wide into these corners, Sam. We've seen it multiple times where the person on the outside just has just nowhere to go for how narrow this circuit is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He hasn't got a whole lot of overtake to go as well, Grassetto. That's really going to hurt him later on. I think Alzugari's got a lot. And so when we get to the final 3 laps or so, which we're not far away from doing, this has been a rapid race, much faster than Zandvoort due to the high-speed nature of this circuit. All these races are distance-based. They're all 200 kilometers, about 50 kilometers short of the full-length Super Formula races. We would have a couple of 250-kilometer races. That was the plan at the start of the season. Unfortunately, the fuel tanks for these cars aren't big enough. Even though they are based on the real-life car, which does 250 kilometers, you can't get enough fuel into it in order to do more than, I mean, it depends on the circuit, but around this place, you'd only get about 225. So, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that iRacing has made it that way, because we want to replicate the real-life championship as best as possible.
Yeah, but I think the Apex Racing League does a good job of replicating the best as we can for this Super Formula Series. Man, it's been a really good season so far. Road America has not disappointed. Rosenkrantz, kind of like last week, the guy who was in the lead, which was Lafaro, just was so much faster than the rest of the field. So it's good to see him put on a good performance. Still 25, lap 25 of 31, so plenty of time to, potentially have a mistake, but he's been running really good so far, as Alzagari has with Grassetto right on his tail.
It doesn't feel like a particularly unusual top 3, does it? But we've got to remember that Rosenkrantz has had 1 podium this season. Aberdeen hasn't had any podiums this season. And Palic hasn't had any podiums this season. It really has been very mixed up. Well, that is a pretty late move there from Alzagari. Grassetto went to the outside and he swoops past. That was super close between the two of them on the pit straight, but they avoided any damage. Good work from the pair of them. I think there may have been a change as well further up. Maybe Lofaro defending against Alicon. Here they are at it again. Alicon moving ahead with the overtake, and Alicon is up to 5th position. Great recovery. And yeah, if it weren't for that slow pit stop earlier on, which lost him 4 seconds, I think he'd have a chance at catching up to Palic and Schnabel. But unfortunately for him, I think it'll be a dull finish now to the end.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, Grassetto's made a mistake.
Ooh.
Oh dear. And I think Ford may have been caught up in it. I think Grassetto has spun, rejoined, and taken out Ford. And Winkler is slow as well. And several of these drivers have already taken faster pairs, so this could be bad news. And Edward Pop is going to overtake Grassetto for the amateur race win. Awful news for Grassetto, who's led all the way. I think Ford's just going to come across and ailing Grassetto around this turn 6. There he is. Oh no, and then it was Ford who spun across into Winkler. And that's the second time Ford and Winkler have collided in this race. Might need to get another angle from that, because there a lot was going on amongst those 4 drivers.
Yeah, turn 5 is... Oh, yeah. Ford has a little extracurricular tires.
I'm not sure how much Ford did wrong here. He would have had some yellow flags. Oh, he got on the grass, didn't he?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to come out of a corner where it's blind and then you're on exit and then someone's coming right across you. Unfortunate for Grassetto, Ford, and all the drivers involved, but the winner of that incident, Edward Pop.
Yeah, Pop up to 10th place overall. Grassetto still had a faster pair spare. That's good. So he's able to get back out there, but then 18th place. Did everyone else continue? Where's Winkler? Is Winkler still going in 8th? I thought Winkler was out, but he was going really slow. Could we get a replay of then the original incident then? Because we saw Ford come across it all and hit Winkler, but the original incident was Grassetto, wasn't it? It was Grassetto colliding with Alzagari. Alzagari as well managed to keep on going without damage. It looks like it's going to be Alzagari who's actually made the mistake. So here it was from Winkler's perspective. Well, yeah, could have been worse for him. He avoided damage. And this is the original incident. These guys were chopping and changing constantly. Oh no, Hosey. No, Hosey. I think, unfortunately, man, that's your fault. Unfortunately, that was it's such a shame as well, because Fabio and Hosey were passing so well, but that was a dive from nowhere. So
Yeah, just tough coming back on the track in that situation because you want to get going, Sam, but you just got to be a little more mindful when the drivers are still coming up. But that was an egregious send. But to be fair, that happened a lot from the other side of the party in the race too. So he was probably getting maybe a little upset or something. I'm not sure, but unfortunate incident for all drivers involved. But we race on.
I think if Winkler can get 7th place out of this one, considering he's had a spin, a crash, and another crash, I think that would be very good effort for him. And I think that's what he's about to do, because he's got a lot of overspeed. Alzagari probably used a lot of his overtake already as well. And so he's going to have to be fairly cautious on it. Meanwhile, we're going to have some of the drivers probably just enabling their overtake in maybe just a lap's time and using it to the end of the race. Like guys like Rosenkrantz, who haven't been battling for this entire race, will be able to deploy very early. Rosenkrantz has been needed though. He's just at the fastest lap of the race, a 40.48.
We will need to take Chris Rosenkrantz car to post-race inspection. Chris Rosenkrantz car to post-race inspection. So he's been putting on a clinic there, Sam. I mean, yeah, the only driver into the 140.48. Schnabel is also into the 140s, but who's up into 4th. But these, Schnabel and Palich are running good. Carl Winkler and Alzagari still battling hard. Here's a replay.
Yeah,
Alzagari's with cat and mouse.
Alzagari's not done with fighting tonight, is he? He is. It looks like Winkler's a lot faster, but he has not yet been able to get past. And them battling so hard. Oh, something's happened to Make Palich. Make Palich has been overtaken live, by the way, by Lennart Schnabel for 3rd position. So Palich, who managed to fight back and get that 3rd position back earlier on in the race, has lost it again. And also, Alzagari and Winkler are back alongside. Almost exactly what we were just seeing on the replay, but this is 1 lap later, and now there's an extra car behind them, Kevin Zwemstra. As Schnabel and Palich are still going at it, it's all going on with a lap and a half to go.
I will say Alzagari's done a very good job going into Canada corner, not being on the outside going into it, because you've seen Carl Winkler fall back every time, but Schnabel's pulled away a little bit from Palich for the final spot on the podium. Winkler and Alzagari here into turn numero 1, and then the straightest turn 2 right here, and then turn 3. Zvomstra's like, hello, I want to get in a little piece of this action.
They can't use their attack at the moment. Well, they can't use their attack because you can see the slow flashing. They've used it too recently. As Wemstra's now got the clean air in front of him, he might be able to get past the pair of these guys on the outside. Might just have to settle for one. No, there's contact between the two of them, and so lucky is Pop to get through. Carl Winkler with a 4th incident in this race, and with the heavy contact that there was, and Zwemstra's been wiped out as well. I think that was Zwemstra who spun on the outside into Winkler.
You gotta be so cautious in 5. We've seen it a lot of time in this race. If you're on the outside of the corner exit and you have a car on your inside of you, you're gonna take not an optimal line, and you're gonna go wide and then just rotate the car and get some contact. But man, Chris Rosenkrantz 139.
Wow. That's overtake, isn't it? You can see it's on for him. Palich has got back past Schnabel. An epic battle has been going on between Palich and Schnabel over the last couple of laps. They've been going back and forth, and it is Palich back ahead with a lap to go. It's seemingly he's got a bit more boost than Schnabel. Schnabel, who would have been using that overtake earlier on. Oh, he's got enough to go to the end of the race. Whereas Schnabel is having to wait. Now he is on it, but he's not going to have it on the run to Canada corner. He's only going to have it for the middle sector here, Schnabel. So I don't think he's going to be able to do anything in the final few corners.
Rosenkrantz, we've seen him on board earlier. A little bit of wheel spin out of the corner, but he's got his turbo going all the way through. But Schnabel He had to use a lot of turbo to get to his position, and that's what's helped out Palich, who had the whole lap left. So but how about Palich just trying to maintain it? But here is Chris Rosenkrantz, who through Canada corner goes through 13 and 13A. What a phenomenal run for him.
The man who had only scored one podium this season. We knew it was only a matter of time for him to win a race. He will be the 6th different winner in 7 races. Chris Rosenkrantz breaks his duck and wins in Apex Racing Academy Super Formula. Lee Aberdeen will score a podium for the first time, and it will also be a first-time podium for Mick Palich. That late overtake mode that he had enough to hold off Lennart Schnabel. Marcos Alacon, after setbacks for him, he will finish in 5th position. Lefari in 6th. Top of the amateur judge will be Edward Pop in 8th place. It's still going on between Tambwe and Vela. These guys have been very close to one another for the entire race. Vela was last on lap 2, and he's nearly got back into the top 10. He is going to come up short though. And, well, Tambwe isn't exactly helping himself there. It's a long run to the line, but it's not long enough for these two to change around. Pop, Gabriel, and Tambwe for podium in the apps.
How about that podium in the overall? Rosenkrantz, Aberdeen, and Palich. They're going to pop that virtual champagne on their virtual podium because that's such a phenomenal run. Here's a Winkler, though, trying to get around. I believe that is Ma. And unfortunate run for Winkler, but at the line, Ma will hold him off. But I tell you what, Sam, going into this round, if anyone's going to tell me that was going to be your podium, maybe from how the season has gone, I would be like, no way. But what a job by those 3 drivers to finish on the podium.
Yeah, that was incredible. Do we know what happened to Winkler in those last few laps? I know that he collided with one of the with Zwemstra, but he didn't come into the pits from what I'm seeing. Like, I thought he may have got a fast pair, but at least on my screen, his last pit stop was on lap 11. So maybe he took a fast pair and just my timing screen didn't pick it up. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that one. Yeah, mighty stuff. We will get a chat with a few of our drivers in a moment. And there is the results. Rosenkrantz up ahead of Aberdeen. Palich, wonder where Schnabel would have been. He had good pace. I don't think he quite had the same pace as Rosenkrantz, but he started almost from last, so that's a good effort. Alacon started from last and had a slow pit stop. He finished in 5th. Lefari, Alzugari, Pop with a comfortable AM win in the end, but that doesn't really tell you the full story. Had a Cabral, Tambwe, Vela. Mola was in 12th there, Cezana with a bad day for him. Boba Grassetto, who was so good. Grassetto was in 2nd place for the early stages. Winkler had decent pace, but so many incidents. Arroyo was in 18th place. Zwemstra and Ben Ford. Ford was looking very good at points, but ended up last out of the drivers. Quick shout out to another one of our sponsors, SDK Gaming. Thanks to them for sponsoring us, and of course they provide our overlay that you see up on screen. It is a fantastic package, also our live timing setup, and you can get SDK Gaming for a heads-up display for whilst you are racing. Thoroughly recommend it. Delivers all the information that you need whilst you are competing. So do check out sdk-gaming.co.uk in order to get a subscription. Let's have a chat with one of our drivers. I'm going to drag up Lennart Schnabel to first have a chat. Lennart, 4th position. I'm sure if you offered that at the start of the day, you probably wouldn't have taken it. But considering that you beat Marcos tonight and considering that you had a mare in qualifying, I think you must be feeling quite satisfied.
Yeah, I feel like there was a missed chance, a missed opportunity to score some more points. Had a weird qualifying. I mean, I was drifting all over the place, but at the end, 4th place. I'll take it. Even though the 3rd place wasn't too far away. but at the end, we managed pretty well, especially in the early stages with a lot of traffic. And also the pit stops were pretty decent because I saw the 3 people ahead of me fighting and was like, that's gonna cost us a bit too much time. Unfortunately, got caught up in traffic after the pit stop, which cost us probably third or even second position. Um, but at the end, really decent day, except for the qualifying.
It looked like a very fun battle between yourself and Make in those closing stages. Talk us through how that battle ebbed and flowed.
I mean, I kind of knew that I was on a bit on the back foot, because I had not enough boost left. I had 40 seconds of boost lap, when we started the last lap. Um, so I felt like, yeah, that's maybe P4, or if I'm lucky, he's gonna do a mistake and we'll end up P3. But I just try to stay close to him, and if he does a mistake, then that I'll be right at the perfect time there. But I'm in fourth place with that battle. I don't think I can say anything against that.
4 more races to go. You're sort of leading the championship. I think when the drop scores are considered, I think it might change rounds. I'll
Yeah.
adjust the points after this so we get a better picture. How do you rate your chances? Because it looks like, I mean, obviously Chris has demonstrated, he could potentially win the last 4 rounds potentially. I mean, he's very pacey, but it looks most likely it's going to be between yourself and Marcos. How are you fancying your chances?
Uh, I feel like my chances are pretty decent. Obviously we're a bit behind Alacon when the drop scores are applied, but yeah, I think we're in a decent position, especially after the performances of Alacon, which weren't that bad. Don't get me wrong, but we finished ahead of him in the last 2 races, and we just need to score a tiny bit more points, maybe just stay P2. And if something happens to us, then championship might be over. If something happens to Alacon, which I'm not hoping for, because that would destroy the championship fight a little bit. um, I just hope for a fair ending to the championship, and at the end, if we have to settle for P2, um, if it was in a fair fight, then P2 is all right.
Definitely, I think that's a very good attitude to have. I think the job scores are now applying, and you're 30 points behind going into these next few rounds. To be fair, actually, Lofara is not that far off you guys. Lofara is 70 points off the lead. You're 30 points off the lead, so very catchable. A couple of race wins, and you're sure to be back ahead of Marcos. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Lennart?
Yeah, shout out to the whole team, especially Lee did amazing job today, and thank you for your stream. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Lennart, and yeah, best of luck for the remaining rounds.
Thank you.
That was Lennart Schnabel, your 4th place finisher tonight. And like I said, the championship points going into the next few rounds. We have got Alacon on 470, Schnabel 440, Lofaro 400. And there's a little bit of a gap back to Aberdeen with 355. So probably those top 3 have still got a chance at the title. Avery, who would you like to have a chat with?
I think we should have a chat with the winner of the amateur division. The winner of the amateur division, Mr. Pop. Congrats on a fantastic race. A little bit of luck on your side, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. How was the race for you?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a lot more than a little bit of luck. Let's put it that way. It still was a very hard fought race. I don't know if you guys were watching on the stream because we were a bit further back, but Ben Ford and I have swapped positions like 6 or 7 times I think in the beginning of the race. So it was a very, very fun race, a very close race most of all, but a very lucky race in the end.
Oh, we were watching, with Ben being a newcomer to the league, and Yeah, you guys were just racing hard, and we were watching for sure. But what does it mean to get a good points day with the where we're at in the season?
It's a really, really great feeling. Road America is one of my favorite tracks, so to get a good result here is amazing. I had my best result in an Apex League last season in F3 at Road America. So it's a track where I tend to do well, and the fact that I finally managed to get another win and finish ahead of both my championship rivals Fabio and Caesar is an amazing feeling. And in a track that I love so much, it makes it all even better.
Yeah, it's such a great track, and it's an honor to be here. Speaking of tracks, we go to the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit next week. Are you excited for that?
I really am. Yeah. It's also one of my favorite tracks. I have a few wins as well. I tend to do well there as well. But let's see. I haven't had two good races in a row this season, so I'm hoping to get that next week.
Before we see you next week at the Nürburgring, is anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
I'd really like to thank Apex Racing for putting together such an amazing event again. Guys, please keep up the good work. It's a lot of fun to take part in this.
Yeah, it's always been fun to call. So, well, congratulations again on that amateur division win. Hope to see you on the podium again next week at one of your other better tracks.
Hope so again. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, what a run for Edward Pop to get away on the point standings there, Sam. Just like we've been saying, you got to finish the races in a good position. If you just make it a little too aggressive, like you've seen a couple drivers make, and they just lost out on a lot of points. But great job by Edward to work his way up to the lead for that one.
Yes, yeah, really good work from Edward, and yeah, he was saying yeah he was lucky, but I think he gave himself a lot of luck and was in a position to take the lead when those chances came around. We'll have one more interview, this time with Cesar K. Brow, who joins us now. Cesar, congratulations, more really good points, 9th position overall and 2nd place in the AMs. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, finally, yeah. But actually, the last race I was a little bit disappointed with my result. I just could manage before, but now, yeah, the luck comes to me a little bit. I had not the pace. I don't know what's happened today. I were during officials running 41s and close to 40s, but today maybe because I did some change in the setup to adapt to the few, I messed up something, so I couldn't have the pace that I was expecting. But yeah, I tried to stick calm and defend me when I saw some drivers behind me. I tried to stay calm, focus on my race, and yeah, I make it. So I guess I make good points. I could increase a little bit the championship points. Edward Pop now did a really good job today. He really deserved the second of the winner. Sorry, and I couldn't make anything from where I were, so I just could be seeing like, okay, I must to accept my second place. But for the next race, we will really fight harder, training harder to capable to make at least my first victory in the season. So because it's a little bit frustrating, I'm first in the championship, but I have no victories at all. So I need some one first.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty incredible record that you got, isn't it? Because it's 7 races, you've had 4 seconds, a third, and a couple of fourth places as well. But that consistency, it's gonna serve you very well. We've got Nürburgring next time out. How do you feel about that one? I feel like that's one that we visited a lot in the F3s in the past. Do you think that the super formulas will be good around there as well?
Uh, Honestly, this track that we just raced for now were really good, but I guess they make everyone in the same level. Like because of the long straights, we don't have so much challenges there. It's not so technical. But I see Nürburgring as a really good challenge for everyone. Then we're gonna have the step back for Zandvoort. We're gonna have way more technical skills apply there, and yeah, for sure, I expect a better performance there. And yeah, because I don't know, I still struggle with tire temperatures, and that's why I had not so good top speeds in the long straights, and I feel way more comfortable like Suzuka and tracks where we are turning way more and finding the limit of the car, you know.
Yeah, hopefully that will fall into your favor when we visit the final few circuits on the calendar. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Cesar?
Uh Actually, we I'm waiting for the last two that we have hiding. It's not in the calendar yet. I hope Misano will be there because Misano were one of those best tracks that I already race, and not in the iRacing but in other track. And yeah, so excited for the last two, and for now just try to focus, not so choose a track, just accept the track that I have ahead, and make uh, what is possible to make some good points, but this time in the first.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. It will be, I'm having a quick search now because, of course, we followed the official series, so I'm trying to find very quickly what the schedule is. I think it was going to be, I mean, this is difficult. Well, we've already visited Spa. So the first two rounds for
Yeah.
next season are maybe Spa and Interlagos. So probably
Mhm.
Interlagos. We'll see if we go to Spa. That will be a
Yeah.
decision to make. I like the idea of Misano. If it's added in time, I think it's most likely going to be Mugello which gets added.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I misunderstood. Like, sorry for that. Barcelona, the after Nürburgring will be a really good challenge, especially for the last corners because this will be historical. So I think that will be a little bit tricky there to do some overtakes, but we have the long straight. But if we could make it Interlagos in the end, it could send to Brazil back the victory that Lewis Hamilton took us back out in 2008. So maybe there can finally win and get the championship. So let's see what's gonna happen there.
That would, I think Interlagos is going to be the season finale, so
Wow.
that's going to be dramatic. So yeah,
Wow.
that's going to be pretty cool. Well, we wish you the best of luck for that one, Cesar.
Okay,
Thanks for
I
having
will.
a chat with us.
I have a one request. Two
Sure.
requests. Yeah. Can I talk about my team channel again?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, so guys, we from Race2 Esports. We are always open for new talents. So follow us in Instagram and you can Slack us. We are great experienced team and we are open for you guys. And if you win the race there, I wanna one specific music, a samba. If you win the race.
Excellent. If you win the championship, maybe we'll play some samba music on
Oh
stream.
yeah, that could be wonderful.
That would be very good. I like the sound of that. Thanks for having a chat with us, Cesar. Best of luck next week.
Thanks. Bye.
Cesar Cabral there, finishing runner-up in the AMS. We might actually have time for one more interview, Avery. It's a very quick race that, so we've still got a few more minutes to go. Do you want to have a chat with Giuseppe Lofaro?
Yeah, I'd love to have a chat with Giuseppe Laforo. Hey, Giuseppe, it's Avery up in the booth, man. You had a really good race last week at Zandvoort, and still a good finishing result in sixth. Can you take the fans through the big differences between like Road America and Zandvoort for more narrow the track is?
Yeah, today I struggled a lot, especially in dirty air. The car was extremely fast in free air, but behind another car, the car was basically overseating all the time. I wasn't able to put the power down. I had a lot of vertical grip, so I was able to brake really late. But then in the long corners, I wasn't able to to basically steer, and so I lost a lot of time there. Also, I made a contact with Grassetto, which didn't help. Also because I had my front wing damaged. However, yeah, today it could have been a good opportunity to gain some points to Marcos and Leonard, but yeah, I wasted, and that's it. I mean, I should have focused a bit more on the straight line speed and the bit less on the vertical grip. And so I'll try to drive better next time. And yeah, that's it. I mean, a bit frustrating today.
Well, we really appreciate you jumping in the booth for to talk with us. Next week we go to the Nürburgring. Are you ready for that?
No, I'm not ready for that. I don't know how I will feel there because it's a track that, to be honest, I didn't drive a lot. But yeah, we will see. We will see for sure. But I don't know. I don't know.
Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank?
I wanted to thank Riccardo Giroli that helped me with the setup, and the Mivano team.
Awesome. Well, great to talk to you again. Hope we'll see you on the podium next week.
Thank you.
Seppi Lofo with more solid results, and yeah, we're up there in third place in the championship with 4 rounds to go. Avery, we've mentioned it a couple of times, but Nürburgring next time out. Personally, a circuit that I enjoy, bar the Hermann Tilke section at the first sector. I think that would be quite nice in these cars. It's quite a flowing, fast circuit, and these cars can utilize that better than most.
Yeah, it's a fun track. I ran it a lot with the Formula 3 cars last season on the iRacing official season. So a lot of different corners, some good long straights, some good tight technical corners. I'm really excited to see how these drivers will adapt. I have to watch the race when the broadcast is over, but it should be a fun one to call for you guys.
It should be very good. It'll be a shame that you're not here, Avery, for that one. But yeah, hopefully it'll be worth entertaining enough to watch back. Of course, if you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like on it. Subscribe to Apex Racing TV. We've got loads more broadcasts coming up tomorrow. We've got the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. We've also got our late night show, the Late Apex, on in the evening. We've got Weekend Warriors on Sunday. We've also got the return of Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. That'll be from the Nordschleifer. That's on Tuesday. And many other shows as well. Also check out our social media pages. That's both Apex Racing League and Apex Racing TV on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Thanks to our sponsors, Virtual Racing School, SDK Gaming, Apex Racing Simulators as well and Virtual Racing School as well for supporting these broadcasts and supporting these championships as well. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Avery McDonald and Luis O'Reilly, we will say goodbye and we'll see you back for round 8 of Apex Racing Academy Super Formula next week at Nürburgring. See you then.